find your lack of faith disturbing.
Good morning. It's Monday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to CR0SSExaminations Live. It is a whole new week. It is a brand new day. Well, not brand new. It's 10:44 in the morning, but it is AM. It is AM. Mike, read my email, please. Andrew. Andrew, searching. Oh, I did, and it's right here. That's why it's right here. I found it. I'm getting it. Sorry, man. Sorry. I will be carefully packing that up shortly. Lady Celtic Moon, hello. Thank you, Andrew. Here now, shared and like. All right. Well, what is going on in there it is. It is safe in my hands. You know what else is safe and in my hands today? These bad boys. Oops, that's upside down. These bad boys. The Lone Star cards. Now these are on that beautiful paper that I picked out that I checked out, what was it, a dozen different kinds of papers from this art paper company to do these cards, and bam, there they are. This is the best paper. It's not the thickest paper stock. I apologize. I mean, I liked the thicker ones, but the quality of the actual paper wasn't as good. So I'm like, no, I want the best paper for the tools available. So all right. On the green hand, are you going to do another giveaway? Ooh, I shouldn't I? I should. Maybe I could do. I don't know. I'll think about what I can do. I should, because it got me a lot of subs doing that giveaway that way. So finally, those are here. I can begin that process, except for my wrist is jacked up. I went rock climbing. My I'm a leader at the high school youth group, the high school group, whatever you want to call it. And we went rock climbing not real rock climbing, like a rock climbing gym last night. And I do not have the stamina, but I also think I fell on my wrist wrong, because that is not in good shape. It is what I thought. What are you saying, Lady Celtic Moon? Remember you picking the paper? It is what I thought. Oh, I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. So, 12 here, 4 likes. Please hit that like, hit that share button. Hey, no downvotes yet. Maybe War Campaign's too busy over on D Live. No hate to D Live. I'm on D Live too. I'm on D Live right now. Probably nobody watching because nobody goes to D Live. But I'm happy. I saw that they had taken down all their videos, and I'm like, they didn't get struck or something, did they? Because their channel's still there, but all their videos are gone. And I didn't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I did kind of want to know what was going on. And apparently, somebody did file a complaint or copyright strike. I'm not really sure how that works, but whatever. I don't want to gloat. One vid got struck for sure. I don't want to gloat. It's not becoming. Hey, Dee, saw your walk today, out on the walking cup, doing not the part of the walking crew, the walking in video and crew now. Very nice. it was targeted harassment. Was that what it was? I don't know. I can think of more than one YouTube channel that spends a lot of time doing targeted harassment and bullying. They might want to start setting shop up on D Live, because if that's what you do with your channel, that's all you do with your channel. YouTube ain't gonna like you for very long. So, maybe want to think about that. What's up, Eric Hawkins in the house? What else is going on? What else is going on this fine Saturday, Monday? I have to design jewelry today. Well, maybe not today, but I don't know how many of you know this, but gosh darn it, I need to wash this sweater. Look at that. I've got some sort of a, you know what it is? My son's been wearing this. Elijah has been wearing my sweatshirt. Oh, I'm making pages. You want to jump on, Doug, and chat while you're inking? I would be happy to have you here, brother. So many of you may know, some of you may know, most of you may not know. I have no idea how many of you know that I started my life early on as a jeweler's apprentice. A jeweler's apprentice, ladies and gentlemen. Let me copy this to clipboard. All right, Doug, I'm going to send it to one of your emails. So check your emails. Actually, what I can do is I can send it to multiple of your emails. Because how many freaking emails do you have, dude? Send. All right. I like Doug. Doug is a friend. Real friends. You know, the kinds that don't stab you in the back and run you down on the internet, even when they're pretending to be your friend. Anyway, so I started life out as a jeweler. Well, not life. I started on at a company called Christensen and Company, and I was a jeweler's apprentice for a bit. And I eventually left there because I didn't kind of like the way things worked in that world. But I took jewelry for several years in high school, which is kind of how it led to that. And then my mom's friend became very successful doing these crystal pendants and all this kind of stuff. And she needs a design done. And she's tapping. So she's going to come by here today. And we're going to sit down and talk about designing a piece of jewelry. It all comes back around again, I guess. Of course, she probably doesn't even know I used to be a jeweler's apprentice, but she knows that I'm an artist. So she needs a particular type of style of jewelry done. And she's asking me to help. So I will be helping her out with that. Like I said, I got the sketch cards in today. And I got a note that I should be getting the metal plates for the early bird edition for the Meg campaign either today or tomorrow, at which point I can finish up sending out all the rest of the packages and everybody can be happy and I can be completely fulfilled on the Meg campaign. And then I can end this terrible Ponzi scheme. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's wrong with these people? Sketch cards, sweet. Yeah, dude, you guys didn't see them yet? Sorry. Man, lifting these up. Doug, check your emails. Otherwise, I have to send it to your Twitter or your Facebook. I could send it all over the place. So the Lone Star sketch cards. Sketch cards came in. Oh, I wish they would focus. There we go, focus. So nice thing is I get to sign each and every one of these. The artists get to do their business on this side, right? And then it'll be the artist, whatever artist you picked. And my signature, certifying to this end that this is a one of one, authenticated by Mike S. Miller, Blacklist Universe Creator sketch card, one of a kind. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And this is on some top tier paper. Very nice paper. I can't wait to do some of these. You know what? I'm going to send some of these to Jay Lee. I know he's not on the list, but he owes me. So I'm going to send some to him and tell him to draw me a few of those. And then I'll, I don't know, send them on, sell them on the auctions next year or something. You are a devious criminal mastermind. Right? I know. I totally like ripped all these people off just to give them shark books. You know how that is, right, Doug? You're ripping everybody off and giving them these horrible worm books.
Yeah, I rip people off in the best way possible.
This ongoing joke that
if only everyone got abused and ripped off the way that
I know. Is there anyone else who would like to be ripped off by Doug or myself? Please feel free to stand
Get
up.
in line, man. You'll love it.
How's it going? You get a little cancer on your nose?
Yeah, I got to do. I'm not going to ink on camera because I'm on a spoiler area.
Ah, gotcha.
So I'm going to go light on that. But hard page. Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to write some things and very hard to draw them.
Oh yeah, when I wrote 2-page spread of hundreds of zombies attacking my guys, I was like, oh yeah, well,
it's also like the choreography is kind of stupid. I'll write it and go like, he grabs a tentacle and a gun and then pushes the other guy and blocks his hand while he's picking up a crate. And you're just going like, I can't show that in one panel. That's stupid. So I draw it 10 times, like just struggling over it. And I should have just broken it out into 2 panels and it looks stupid by the time it's done. I'm like, oh
yeah.
I can only blame myself.
I know you're the artist and the writer. So the funny thing is you should know better because as an artist, you complain when a writer does that.
It's the writer. He doesn't know how to draw comics. Why would he write this? So when I do it, I'm like, oh.
I know I'm guilty of doing the same thing myself. And then, and yet I still will blame writers.
Yeah.
So how
you do have a level of smarts when you've written your own material and you're drawing it. I'm just saying you won't. A writer who hasn't drawn, unless they have a lot of experience, you know, they're going to make those mistakes.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. DJ 2K says, just finished Deal with the Devil. It's really good. I want to do a review soon. Please do. Please do that review. So I should be getting a worm book here any day now. I got my US. I got my, what do you call it? Tracking thingy.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. You got your tracking thing, then you're in good shape. It's there's people complaining, General Grudge or whatever, that I haven't even sent them a tracking number in.
Which is like, who does that?
Yeah. I know. I'm telling you, man. Hundreds of backers used to ask me for tracking numbers on Bigfoot Bill. We go, fine, we'll just send it to all of them and it'll alleviate all these problems. And it's like, no, it makes everyone 10 times more conscious now. Now they're going like, where's my, even if they get the tracking number, by the way, they still give you a ton of emails. So you have to this is where the backer service comes in and try to talk as nice as I can. And mostly I have other people handle those communications.
Yeah. Yesterday I got a message that said, what was it? Where's my book or something, you a-hole?
Yeah.
And
they're allowed to say that. You're not allowed to respond that way.
No, I just responded, well, I'll make sure I put you at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on my list. A number of lists.
You're on a list. I'm not going to tell you which list. Dennis Peruch says, Ponzi scheme, you're doing it wrong. I'm getting comics and art. I know. I'm not a very good Ponzi schemer.
Got to work on your Ponzi scheming skills.
I will try. Are there any pointers you could give me?
Get good at social media. I don't know.
All right. Well, gosh, I actually didn't have any topics for today. I like you heard I had this meeting. I have this meeting later, and so I was just like, I need to get through this.
Oh, is this the jewelry meeting you were
the
talking about?
jewelry meeting? Yes, yes.
How cool.
Right? Should be fun. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know much about it. Otherwise, she wants me to design a dragon wrapped around a gem or a crystal or something like that.
So much dragon jewelry going on. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is about dragons, man, but
But she wants a quote unquote American dragon. So like
Oh, okay.
European, because she's Japanese, and so like all the dragons jewelry you get in Japan. She does most of her business in Japan.
yeah.
And so most of the dragon jewelry in Japan is all the Oriental style of dragon. And so she's like, I don't know how to do an American dragon.
Make them put an American flag, a red, white, and blue, baby.
I know. All right. Captain Held says, "Hey, Mike, you criminal. Where are my books that aren't actually due for 3 months? You're so late." Yeah, we don't need to get into that. What's up, Edwin Boyette? Aloha to you too. What's an American dragon, Joe? I just think she means like the European style of
You know,
dragon.
I don't know if you have Disney Plus or not, but there is a incredible documentary series on there on the Imagineering.
Yeah.
And episode 2 covers Tokyo Disney and how it was Tokyo that just came yelling to Disney going, please bring a park to our country. Please, please, please. We'll pay anything, da, da, da. And then they showed us some really cool images of like Disney had a huge effect on Japan because after the war, those were the first, so many films were censored coming in, but the Disney animated features came right over there and just went deep. And that might influence the way that you see your dragon. They may be thinking of like a Disney dragon, Maleficent or Figment from Epcot or something like that.
Right.
That is more what they're, because they just talk about like they saw Disney cartoons and it was like duck to water, Snow White, Bambi, all that.
And birthed anime.
It definitely, yeah. So it might be influential.
Right. Well, she'll tell me what she wants. I will scribble it, and she will give me money, and it'll be a wonderful capitalist exchange. How'd you like to talk about Joshua chapter 3, Doug?
Joshua 3, you'll have to familiarize me with that because I'm not real good with Old Testament.
Really?
Outside of Genesis, yeah. Genesis and Ecclesiastes are the main Old Testament.
Well, Joshua's the fellow that went around killing all the people in the Promised Land who were
like Canaanites.
Not the Canaanites. What is it? The Amorites and the Amorites and it's all the giants. It's all the Nephilim giant crossbreed monster peoples. So let me read some and we'll get into this. Joshua chapter 3 verse 1. Oh, I should probably put it on screen. That would be helpful for people who want to read it. Share screen. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. So if you didn't know, everyone 40 and they were there for 40 years. Yeah. And all of the men of war died in the desert. And it was kind of a cleansing of this slave mentality out of the people because, they all want to go back to Egypt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host, and they commanded the people, saying, when ye see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests, the Levites, bearing it, then ye shall remove from your place and go after it. Yet there shall be space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits. That's about 300 feet, right?
Okay.
Yeah. By measure, 100 yards. Come not near unto it, that ye may know the way by which ye must go, for ye have not passed this way heretofore. And Joshua said unto the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, take up the ark of the covenant and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant and went before the people. And the Lord said unto Joshua, this day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. This is an interesting thing because they're going to, quote unquote, battle against Jericho.
Yeah.
Right. But one of the laws is that you don't take the Ark of the Covenant into battle.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought that was its whole purpose.
No, this isn't Raiders of the Lost Ark. I know they got
man,
that wrong.
I got all everything I know about the Ark I got from
Raiders.
Raiders.
No, it's not supposed to go into battle, but they took it as part of this thing because obviously it was I don't know. To me, I think it was a terror tactic.
Huh.
Because the people of Jericho in the previous 2 chapters were already explained that they were scared to death of the Israelites.
Yeah.
Because they had heard about what they had done on the other side of the Jordan. They had heard about what they had done to Egypt, which was like taking down America.
Yeah.
Right. This God of yours took down America.
Sure.
And so they were scared to death. So the fact that they were coming over and they were holding, because, you know, they all believed in idols. They thought all their gods were idols. Yeah. So they probably thought they were carrying their God before them. Right. Sure. So that was like, oh my gosh. Were they going to bring it on? Did I already read this? No. And Joshua said, hereby you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites. You were right. The Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, and the Gershites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. All the sites. This site, that site.
The out of sites. The mosquito bites.
Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord shall of all the earth passeth before you unto Jordan. Now, therefore, take you 12 men out of the 12 tribes of Israel, out of every tribe a man, and it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon an heap. I just realized that I did this already.
Really? You already read this?
I already read it, but I remember I was like I don't know, drained or something that day. I just wasn't.
Where are you in this area of the Bible? I'm curious. Are you going through it?
Yeah, I love Joshua.
Okay.
Joshua is one of my favorite Old Testament books. So I'm just like, you know what? I really enjoyed going through the book of John. I really felt the Spirit like so many times, like during that Bible study, that I was like, you know what? I need to get back to just getting into the Word, and so I'm going to go through the book of Joshua because it's cool. I want to do a freaking comic book or a movie of this book. I don't think it's ever been done.
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever even read the entire book of Joshua. So now, upon your recommendation, I'll have to get into that.
Do it. Yeah, Joshua's like, he's like, there's I don't know how to say it, Christ figures or Christ. Yeah. Joshua's like the Christ from Revelation, right, in the Old Testament.
Yeah. And is he a judge? Joshua judges Ruth?
No,
isn't?
No, he's like, he's the prophet right after Moses.
He's a prophet. Yeah.
And it came to pass when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests began bearing the ark of the covenant before the people. And as they that bear the ark were come unto the Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped into the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth its banks all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zarethan, from Adam to Zarethan. And those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho. I guess Jericho is right on the Jordan then. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood on firm ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people were passed clean over Jordan, which is like 2 million people.
Yeah.
It's a long time for the priest to stand in the middle of the Jordan waiting for them to cross. But that they did. I'm sure you probably heard at some point. It's like the message here is like, God told them to go. They had to actually step into the Jordan before he would do the miracle. Right. That's kind of
an act of faith or something.
Yeah, that's the message I get out of this one pretty much every time I hear it.
It's also weird. It's it's identical to or not identical to, but the Exodus.
Yeah.
Going through the sea. Now they're going through the Jordan, and that's where Jesus is baptized. So it's tying it to the New Testament.
Yep. Edwin Boyett in the chat says the Girgashites were the worst, the absolute worst.
Girgashites.
And he says it's interesting that all the men of war were aged out, so that the people had to rely on God, not their skill in warfare. That is also a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into chapter 4 here, but in chapter 4, all these men that are about to go into war get circumcised right before they jump into war.
Yay, get on that.
You want me to jump into the next chapter? Zero notification and Doug is here. That is correct. Please do like and share, ladies and gentlemen. Like and share. So people like me don't miss 24 minutes of such a good show. You can't show us just a little bit of what you're inking there? Man, I gotta get some new brushes.
I mean, I will use some of this in the campaign art, but I mean, it gives everything away.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. So, gosh,
I'm not good at keeping secrets either. I'm pretty indiscreet, but gotta leave something for the people,
Yeah. My interest in this part of Joshua is that I have this whole concept of how the city of Jericho fell. And I'm not sure, it's not necessarily it's just a theory. It's speculation. But because Rahab the harlot it says her house was upon the wall, right?
Okay.
And that the spies were in the city, they came into her house and were let down out the wall through her window. That means to my mind, as whatever, that her house was inside the wall.
Yeah.
Right? Like the wall itself was some sort of a housing.
I mean, that's probably how they would build it, right? Right. They'd have a circle of houses, and then they just build the wall outside of those houses, so the houses would probably be connected to the wall, right? You think it's unique to her house?
Something along those lines, because they said that you could, on a lot of these walls, you could ride like 6 chariots abreast.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if you could do that, that's not going to be solid stone. I mean, if it is, that's a lot of stone, How could anybody knock that down? So
it is a lot of stone, I would imagine, still.
Right? And I mean
it's a wall, dude.
Yeah, and think about like the wall of Tyre. They said that was 300 feet high.
Yeah,
and you could still ride like 4 or 6 chariots abreast on it. That's insanely. That would be way too much. So what my theory is that it's more along the lines of an apartment complex or in this modern vernacular where people live in the wall. They built the wall around I don't know how the engineering exactly would work, right?
Yeah, but it would work. But it wouldn't freak me out, right, if you saw that.
Right. And so because if this is the way the entirety of the wall works, and keep in mind, this isn't like San Francisco size. They walked around this city 7 times on the last day, right? So that's not, and my theory on how the walls came down, everyone's like, oh, well, God just made them fall down. Well, God doesn't usually work like that, right? Something usually happens and God has set it up, and that's
like an earthquake or fire coming down from the sky or something.
Right, but it doesn't say there's an earthquake. It just says the walls fell.
Okay.
Right? But if you look at the scenario God tells them, take up the Ark of the Covenant, which is never supposed to go into war, lead it, use it to lead this procession wherein you are blowing horns. All you're doing is blowing horns. Everyone else is perfectly silent, and walk around all the way around the city once a day for 6 days, right?
Yeah.
You already have the setup that the people in the city are terrified of this God and these people. So they walk all around. They're terrorizing the city in like a horror
Is this
movie.
when they sang praises? Is that Judah, the tribe of Judah? Is that in there?
Isn't that Gideon? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm
Yeah.
probably thinking of Gideon. See, I'm ignorant. Never mind.
Yeah, but no. So they're. I mean, picture it, man. Just being like these people silently walking around your city for 6 days that you're terrified of.
Yeah.
And and then on the 7th day, see, now I remember them gathering in front, but I just read it again and I didn't see that. But on the 7th day, they walked around it 7 times, really building up the tension, and then shouted as if they were going to attack. Right? Yeah. Everyone shout. These are the instructions from God. You've built up a week's worth of abject terror in these people, and you've got giants among them. And you've got apartment complexes. So you've got windows outside of this wall. So my speculation is that when they gathered, they thought they were going to be attacking through the gates.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And so everyone, including the giants who would be strong enough to push rocks and stuff out of the way, were trying to get out of the windows and break free through, and just losing the structural integrity of the entire complex, which is why it fell down.
Huh.
Which it just makes, like, I try not to, I'm not trying to say that everything has to be.
That's a lot of speculation, man.
It is a lot of speculation,
right.
But it's based on the information that's in the book.
Yeah.
Right. So anyways, let's see what the fans, oh my gosh, is my mic freaking mouth not working? I was at Target yesterday and thinking about getting a new mouse, but Captain Hiltz, going back to the circumcision thing, says that would stoke some blood rage. Snip, snip. That's a lot. Whose job was that? Because that's a lot of men to circumcise in one day.
Yeah. Probably a priest, I would think, right?
One priest.
It was a bunch of priests.
I need to snip 1 million men.
I imagine they weren't very careful back then either. They're probably just like, next.
A little too much there, buddy.
Yeah. They had a higher threshold for pain than we ever would anyways. So probably wasn't even, they're going like, that's cool.
Edwin says, I think that was just to make them mad. I'd be ready to stick my sword in someone if I had been circumcised as an adult.
Yeah, blood rage. That's what they were saying. Blood rage.
Roscoe says, of course, if they had been living right, even in the wilderness, they would have already been circumcised. Yeah, but they didn't circumcise anyone in the desert, and I'm not sure why. And I really have no speculation.
Because they had no holy area or no temple or nothing?
Well, they didn't in Egypt either, but they were circumcised in Egypt. Huh. Curious, huh? Peter Mike says, I was reading Twitter drama about EVSJW, and then I paid attention to what Mike was saying, and I thought, LOL, man, can't be Jericho's wall again. It was. Wait, what?
He's saying it's like Jericho's. Oh, he was saying that you can't be doing a Bible study on Jericho's wall again. And then lo and behold, it was. So he's saying that you've done this before again when you've forgotten you were delirious.
Oh, well, Joe K says they draw attention while some groups were undermining the walls. Awful Redneck says fun speculation. Captain Hild says Jericho's engineers must have been female. No offense, ladies.
Oh, they failed STEM.
Did you hear about the bridge?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The STEM bridge.
The STEM bridge. The STEM bridge. How many people died in the STEM bridge? I don't remember. That's terrible. Terrible. Shouldn't laugh about that. Edwin says, as we can see, Mike would have been safe from Joshua's wrath. Could have been iffy for Doug. Oh, because you're a giant, and I
am a giant.
That's the joke. Peter Mike says, hashtag save your tip.
Oh.
Why do I do this show?
Uh-huh.
Eric says sand would cause infection. Ooh. I don't know. Roscoe says, or, God could have just winked and let the molecular structure of the wall disintegrate. But, I mean, yeah, obviously anything's possible with God. It's like the flood, right? If the water canopy model thing is accurate, whether it's ice or whatever, the way I would see God like making that happen is that he knew the prescribed time that this had to happen. So when he created the universe, he created a freaking asteroid shower or something that would have coincided with that prescribed time. And then at the appointed time, that asteroid shower would have come and broken the water canopy on the Earth, put a bunch of pockmarks on the moon probably at the same time. And there's things like giant boulders and whatnot. I don't know. I was driving from here, San Jose to New Mexico one time. And I was, they like cut the highway through a whole bunch of like these hills that have all this strata in it.
Yeah. Because,
the highway has to be flat. And in one section of this strata, as I was driving by, and I really wish this was before like phone cameras and all that stuff, but there was a giant boulder the size of, I don't know, a freaking truck. And it was like sitting, and this was inside the strata, right?
Yeah.
It had cut right through this thing, and the strata just went down under it, like it was just a giant weight that like sank into the thing. Now, I don't know where that freaking boulder could have possibly come from, but it sank and it reshaped because the strata was all wet at the time, because this was during the flood. No. So this is why I'm thinking, like, there's probably something from space came down, broke down the thing, and then, rained down on Earth. Then that's why it all collapsed. That's why the atmosphere got sucked into the Earth. That's why we have mastodons quick frozen in Siberia and in Canada and all these places, because the atmosphere just absolutely collapsed in an instant, freezing these creatures with summer vegetation in their mouth, or tropical vegetation in their mouth. And to me, it's just the whole thing is that God created nature. God created everything. So he set things in motion to happen at the appointed time of when he would require stepping in to what we would consider a miracle, but it still happens through engineering circumstances.
Yeah, divine caveat.
Divine, yeah, there you go. Divine.
No, I think that's the main teaching, is not, whether if God uses naturally things or just blink of an eye stuff that just defies all nature. The Bible would document it, I think, if it was that important to teach. So that's why I go easy on the speculation, because I don't know if it's meant to be expounded upon until we know, by studying whatever the rocks say or whatever. Because there's a lot of speculation where we can go off on what the Bible does say.
Yeah.
not there in the text, because I think what it puts in the text is what's really important. It's not if it says God did, they did this and God did that. I don't need to find out that it was also a meteor or something,
Right.
like, yeah, okay, he might have used a meteor, or undermine the whole thing with ants. And if he did it with ants, he'd have told me if it was that important, and he didn't. So,
Right.
because don't you find us filling in the holes with more natural or more historical occurrences is trying to justify the scriptures with like a rational explanation?
Well, I don't know.
Do you find that? Is there anything in that at all?
I think you can see it both ways, because I found it very interesting. I was watching a long time ago on History or A&E or something like that. Was these they were trying to explain the 10 plagues.
Yeah.
Right. I think they had like found some Egyptian hieroglyphs or documentation that said these 10 plagues happened.
Yeah.
Something like that. And so they're like, oh, well, crap. If it's not in the Bible, then if it happened, then we have to explain it.
Yeah.
Right. So they go through and they're like, well, there was a red tide, and the red tide killed all the, the red tide forced all the frogs out of the river.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then the frogs died, and then like all the
created attracted the flies. Yeah.
Yeah, attracted the flies. And then one thing leads to another, right? And so they're trying to explain all this stuff away in a naturalistic sense. But what I was getting out of that is like, so what?
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's God could have used those natural
exactly.
occurrences. It doesn't deny that a God of nature couldn't do that. I just think people, who are looking for, say, examples of men who've actually been swallowed by a fish for 3 days. I'm like, you totally are misunderstanding what that whole thing is about. But I don't need to find a historical, even if a guy was swallowed by a fish for 3 days by purely natural means. It doesn't increase my faith. It doesn't make me feel more confident of what the Bible's talking about, because it's saying in that instant, God's using that event, that teaching event, and tells us about it in the book for a different reason than teaching us that whales often swallow men. Like, wrong teaching.
Right.
So then I feel like I'm actually doing a disservice to the Bible and taking it out of its intended consequence, because our consequence, the context we're always trying to find is, what did the author intend? Author intent is everything for context. And I just don't think the author was trying to teach us about the science of what a fish can do with a man in his mouth.
Yeah, I get that.
And probably likewise, I don't think it's even trying to teach you history. If it's saying, we know that a meteor hit now, that because we've combined these events, that's not its purpose. From what I'm reading, anyways.
No, I think there's 7 billion perspectives on this stuff, and for some people, that could really invigorate them for a search for truth, and ultimately lead them to truth, understanding that God is the architect of all of history. And so if God, sprouted a plant so that Jonah could have shade for a night, and then he created a worm that would eat the plant. I mean, plants and worms are all natural occurrences. Now, growing overnight is not a natural occurrence, but he uses the natural in his predetermined way, and he uses supernatural.
And to him, what we would call natural or supernatural, it's all natural to him.
Yeah, and it's all supernatural to us.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's what I find.
Alan Walker for $4.99 says, "Didn't know you had an art print store, Mike. Bought a few. Doug Launch the Cow is amazing. I also received my shark book fulfillment confirmed." All right. Thank you, Alan Walker.
We're putting books out, baby.
That's right. We're delivering for you. We are terrible at our Ponzi schemes.
Yeah.
Dee says,
too much work.
Dee says, "It is a miracle of just timing the events. They happen exactly when God said it would happen, regardless of how he did it. True.
Yeah.
True. W.T. Keaton says it shows how God is outside of time because he had to set stuff up long in advance. Yeah, a little difficult for us to comprehend omniscience, right? Not just omniscience, but being, what do you want to call it? The divine architect. Planting a certain seed 50 years before someone prays for an apple to fall out of the sky, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all beyond my
impossible to ponder.
Yeah,
because what it would take to be able to predestine events,
right?
Plan for them, and he has perfect knowledge, say, of every hair on your head. He knows who's going to get saved when, far in advance. He knows when his son's going to come and when he's going what his dates are. It's unfathomable. He would have to have complete divine control of everything, including all of our suffering and all that stuff. God is a very strange being to our mind. Very strange being.
Yeah. Incomprehensible.
Yeah.
And
I can't tell you how it works. He's not a machine.
No. We can only know that which he chooses to reveal to us.
Yeah.
Which, when people like start getting in on the Trinity and stuff, it's like, bruh. Yeah. It's like being a two-dimensional ant trying to figure out the space shuttle.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we know it's rational because he is he's the God of rationality.
Mm-hmm.
It's rational, even if he does it by divine caveat. But I can't tell you how most of this stuff works. And it probably makes for not great Bible study to go too far into speculation, in my view.
No, it's more for fun and for if you wanted to do stories about it.
It's our hobby.
It's as long as you're doing stories and your speculation isn't blasphemous.
Yeah.
Right? Like that Noah movie.
Yeah.
Wow, what a pile of trash. I wanted to like that movie so much.
I know, it could have been so good. It could have been so good.
Killed me. DD says Jerusalem was sacked on the 9th of Av. Rome's Pompeii was destroyed on the 9th of Av, a generation later. Jews wouldn't think that a coincidence. You know what? I know abortion like is a thing that has gone back probably as almost as long as mankind. But I was looking
at least since Do Not Murder. Yeah.
I saw this book on the artifacts they found from Pompeii.
Yeah.
And they had a series of quote unquote surgical instruments. Dude, one was a freaking thing to open a cervix, and one was a scraping pole. Weird. And I'm like, they were doing medical freaking abortions in Pompeii.
Yeah, we've come so far. We'd never be as barbaric as those primitive.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, no wonder God wiped them out.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, he's showing a lot of mercy on us for doing the same thing.
Oh, Confederate Son has an interesting question. Mike and Doug, what do you think when Comicsgate calls you false Christians?
I hear it. I hear that even from the Christians in Comicsgate. Call me a false Christian. I think if you looked at my attitude and my works, I think they could be justified if they're going to judge me by my behavior and by my internal amazing righteousness. It's very easy to see a fellow Christian as a false Christian by our culture standards. Our culture tries to make us say that we think we're holier than everybody. We think we're better than everybody. But if all they're saying is that guy looks like a huge sinner, then I'm in complete agreement. that Mike and I are both. If there is nothing in me that is as good as Jesus. So if you
No.
look at me and say he's foul, I want you to see that Jesus is in my heart, and I'm, and my goal is to be like him. And obviously I'm not a perfect example of him yet, or I'd probably transcend. I'd probably walk right up into the sky after I walked on some water.
Yeah.
So when I see sin on my fellow Christians, including guys like Mike and guys on our opposition, which might be I don't know even who you'd talk about, but anyone who's claimed Christ's name, Micah Curtis or whatever, I go, oh, look, it's a fellow traveler, a fellow fallen man. But I don't say that guy is a terrible Christian. In fact, the mark of being a terrible Christian would be for me to claim my own righteousness and to boast of my own good works and to try to hide my sin or hide my identity as a fallen being, weak and made strong by God. Totally weak, but made strong by God. That's what I think. That's kind of the thing that goes through my head when I start trying to grab onto, wait, I'm righteous, and wait, that guy is not worthy. That's what the prodigal son brother does. Is he goes like,
Yeah.
little brother that got redeemed. He spent all your money, Dad. He's evil. But me, I've been home all this time. That is our nature. We can't do that. Don't be the big brother.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Jay Hamilton says, is it being a false Christian, or is it just being a sinner who needs God's grace and forgiveness? Well, I'm I'm ultimately hesitant to ever, if somebody claims Christ, I mean, I would call them out in private if they did something wrong. But trying to claim Christ, as I do, and then call somebody out in public as a false Christian or whatever, I don't know, that's pretty sketchy.
That's a serious accusation too.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be part of my vocabulary that you're a fake Christian.
Right.
I don't even say that about Obama, who my nature is so skeptical of, but I just don't want to go and
oddly I do.
Yeah.
I think Obama's a Muslim.
Yeah, I don't want to be the big other people's fruit inspector. It's not my job. And you just see all these warnings in the New Testament, huge warnings of that the devil is the accuser, and Jesus goes, I didn't come to accuse. And then you see also all of the parables of the Christians, the people who were forgiven a certain amount, and then they go after the other guy saying, I want justice for him, but mercy for me. It's just a huge taboo in the New Testament. Constant teachings against it that I don't want to fall into that. I'm actually more afraid of falling into that than that quote unquote fake Christian is going to get away with whatever. I'm more afraid of being.
But we are called to be fruit inspectors. And if your fruit is saying that the most beautiful sound you've ever heard is the Muslim call to prayer.
Yeah, that might be an indicator.
That fruit doesn't smell right.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't want to say that we have to be stupid, because we're also aware that there's a form of religion now that's kind of like a Christian hybrid, where you have a bunch of Christians that are under the influence largely of liberalism or whatever, that have invented a brand new version of it. But
you have to keep in mind that Obama would not be the first politician in the history of America to claim Christianity just because that's how you get elected.
Yeah.
You know,
we know that that's out there, and you do see New Testament guys calling out other people who claim belief, and they're saying that guy, no, he preaches a different Christ.
That's true,
and he's out, and they're pretty angry at those guys too.
Edwin points out that Peter denied Christ and went on to help build his church. Yes.
Oh, yeah. You guys saw me years ago when I was still claiming Christ, for the last 45 years of my life. I'm sure there'd be times where you'd look at me and go, in my secret moment of sin, you'd go, that ain't a Christian. I got hard evidence that guy ain't a Christian. So
yeah,
maybe with other people in in a weak moment and not something that is indicative of their whole life.
Well, you know what? I mean, the Bible, Christ says, not the Bible. Christ says in the Bible that they'll know, the world will know we are Christians by our love one to another.
Yeah.
Not our love of the world, our love one to another as brothers and sisters in Christ.
Yeah.
Right. So
church.
That's Jesus. So take it up with him. That's why I often respond when someone is berating me, when someone who claims Christ is berating me as being a bad Christian or a false Christian or whatever, I usually respond with that.
Yeah.
Right?
And also in today's time, it's not unlike when Jesus was persecuted and they're going like prophecy to us and heal yourself, physician. When people call down your religion against you, they're not being they're not doing it out of respect of that religion. They're trying to hold
us to standards that they don't.
Yeah. Most of the people making that claim that I'm a fake Christian usually aren't themselves at all interested in Christianity or religion. So they're not holding me account to something that they also believe. It's almost always non-Christians saying, like, physician, heal yourself, who struck you, prophecy to us, and all that. It's like, it's a mockery thing. And to those people, I got nothing for.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that you get this, and this is so commonplace that they do that because they're not holding the people that you're arguing with up to those standards, even if those people are claiming to be Christians.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you know they'd be consistent, right? What would they do? Right. They'd hold this standard to everybody equally.
Right.
That's a true principle.
They don't. They hold that standard to the people who they know to be Christians.
Yeah.
W.T. Keaton says Doug's Offensive Christ shows really meant a lot to me at a time when I needed it.
Oh, cool.
Look at you doing good works, brother.
Yeah, check out my good works, man. I'm so good. Yeah, and a lot of those shows were also focused on our own realizing that we're like the worst people we know. These are like 4 of the best Christians I know have been on the show, and they're like, no, I know my heart. I'm scared.
That's funny because one of the things that certain people use against me was me saying that I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
That's why I need Christ.
Yeah.
And they like post that up as some horrible accusation against me. I said it.
Yeah, and that's also why when you posted that pride is a sin joke, I knew that you thought very seriously that you probably had a bigger problem with pride than anyone else you were talking about, given what I know of you. So it was a joke, and they only took it serious, you know.
Yeah.
It was so dumb. But that's you know, we are fallen, broken people, and I just don't think people I don't think people really understand your salvation. I don't think they get where your heart is. They're too busy looking at external, Mike, and they don't know what's really inside.
Well, who does?
I do.
Oh.
I mean, not as well as you know what's inside you. I'm not talking about private information, but if you being a Christian, I know what's in your heart, and I know basically what you believe. And so I would never make that accusation against you that you were being, you know, more than normally joking in that.
No. It was all blown out of proportion. For monetary reasons.
Yeah. And that's even worse. Is the things that you were accused of are what almost everyone does. The things they accused you of, and this is what I see in a lot of accusations, all of us are looking to put the guilt on someone else, possibly to take the magnifying glass off of us, right? Anytime you're accusing someone else, and I'm, you know, and I just see us all as wholly guilty, especially today, especially on Twitter. We're wholly guilty, and I don't see a lot of righteous people on Twitter pointing out someone else's sins in good faith. Is all.
Well, there are no righteous people.
Well, yeah. So everybody shut up.
Roscoe says it's always the heathens that shout, "Judge not," while judging you as a false Christian.
Fact.
It's that's one of the rules in Rules for Radicals. It's hold them up to their own standards.
Yeah. Yeah, all you guys read Rules to Radicals, and all of this cultural political fighting on Twitter will make perfect sense, because it's 100%. So just way back, socialist, Marxist, SJW, and it doesn't bother me to see it on the left. Of course, that's their rule book. When I see it on the right, it infuriates me. That's when I freaking just go, okay, well, we lost. And did you see the article on, I don't want to get into it on this show, but did you see the article on Bleeding Fool about the guy talking about Comicsgate? Give it.
I'm not sure.
I think it went out today or yesterday or something. Give it a read. Let me know what you think.
All right. Well, we are over an hour, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap this up. Doug, are you going to pop in for Nerds this evening?
Oh, that's tonight, isn't it?
It is tonight.
All these shows are really bad timing. What time tonight? Central?
Is Central 2 hours ahead of me or 3?
I think so.
2 hours. So it's 7 your time.
Yeah, that's when I'm trying to cut it off from like 6 in the morning to 6 at night, 8 hour a day, and then be done with it so I'm not getting back on the channel at night when it's family time.
Yeah, I understand.
So, and most of you guys are doing night shows, so it's a little.
That's funny because this is my earliest night show. It starts at 5 o'clock my time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think tomorrow at 4 my time, I'm having Nick Ricada on, but that's only if I get my pages done. We're going to hang and talk a little bit about the law.
The law.
Because you saw me on his channel the other night. I'm talking about the moral case. Morality over the law is kind of my.
Well, tag me and I have an argument about that too.
Oh, you do?
I do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to tap out here. I'll probably chat with Doug offline for a minute.
Yeah, I'll show you.
I'm not going to be privy to it. So God bless you all. Have a great day. And Doug, what do you say?
Oh, God is good.
Oh, all right. Just remember.
I find your lack of faith